Alright, in part 3 of this video, we end up delving into the First Amendment a little bit. You know, these people that you may have seen on the internet that videotape themselves going out and harassing people, police, Social Security Administration people, just general people with the government. They're a bunch of ne'er-do-wells. They're looking to make a paycheck, and they tend to use it for clicks and views because they have nothing better to do but try to make money by harassing people. There's a lot more to them, but we're going to talk about them a little bit, and maybe we will at some point talk even more about them because they're a fascinating subset of the idiocy that came out of the soft sit movement in the 70s. So, hope you like it. Listen to it. It's a little bit long, but it's pretty fascinating if you're not familiar with it, and this is just a real brief kind of random touching on it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this 3-part series. All right, well, here is part 3, and I realized that it was really dark in the video because it's it's dark, right? It's a dark, dreary day today, and I realized that I had my, for those of you that are camera geeks or video geeks, I had my ISO automatically went down to, I don't know, 32 or something like that. So, so this one I raised it up a little bit, so hopefully it's not quite so dark and my face isn't quite in so much shadow. The lighting is a little bit better because I have nothing but the camera and some fluorescent lighting in here to brighten it up. So I apologize for the other 2 videos and the thing. Maybe I can correct it and post on the phone here. I mean, I could if I would have had the computer here, but I don't know. I'm trying to get this up before I get back to my computer. Another thing I should, now that I've got this and some secure storage, I should go back to start carrying the computer with me everywhere and the camera stuff. But, all right, so anyway, so there you go. So hopefully the video is a little bit better. So we talked about the Jeep. We've talked about Biden and the mental health. We talked about kind of where I'm at. We didn't go into it deeply. I didn't want to on this one. This is for another one. But just a fun little video on a rainy day. Catch up where I'm at, what's going to happen fairly soon. And so we come to part 3. We're trying to keep these all under 20 minutes long. So this one I think is going to be just some more general stuff for the most part. We'll see where it goes. So yeah. So, okay, somebody had in one of the Discords that asked me what I'm using, if I'm just using the basic video stuff in on the iPhone to capture video. And I have to say, yep, sometimes. So if I'm doing a short, it's usually just, point the camera, hit video, and then use that and go through and on the YouTube shorts, whatever I'm doing, green screen or whatever. For stuff like this, I use an app called Blackmagic from Blackmagic Camera. So it gives me a lot more control, right? I can change my frame rate, I can change my ISO, shutter speed, all that kind of stuff. And then I just take it and then I import it into iMovie on the phone, or move it over to my computer where I can edit it all. And this comes out in a kind of I can put it into a RAW format and then process it from there. So we have that. So that's what I use, Blackmagic on the phone. If I'm shooting normal video, I'm out and about. It's either using a GoPro and the GoPro RAW format on the GoPro and the Sony stuff on the Sonys, but I don't use it right now. It's too much to do unless I go out and shoot like the Jeep. That I'll shoot in more with a GoPro and with the Sony uh, uh, A7 IV and the 3 and the R R5 for the stills. So there you go. So just a little bit from there. The other thing I have, let's talk. Just talk. You know what? I wanted to vary the thing here and the channel, and the channel is basically my life and what I like, right? So people are going to like some of this stuff. People aren't going to like some of this stuff, but a big part of my life for years has been watching these and making fun of and laughing at and following the antics of these people that are they call themselves First Amendment Auditors, right? If you're on the internet and you've seen them, you'll see them up there. Sovereign citizens is another one. You know that you see these people that go around with a license plate that says they're a private attorney general, and they don't have to have a license plate and all this kind of garbage. And sovereign citizen, free citizens, all that kind of garbage. That's always been a rabbit hole of mine that I'd like to go down and watch. And I'm pretty active in following them and know a lot about them for a lot of reasons. So I thought I would talk about those a little bit here. So if that doesn't interest you, don't watch part 3. I understand. There'll be other content, but stick around because it's kind of interesting. And I want to do some more stuff for this in a more professional way. More so probably as definitely some parody, and then just some more just general interest, and maybe from a legal standpoint what they're doing, right and wrong. Those that know this group, what's been termed the term frauditor, and we can get into the history of that term and how it came about at one point, because it's interesting. It has become kind of the de facto standard when you're talking about these idiots. Call them frauditors. Even they've taken up the name a little bit. Interesting story in and of itself, and that goes back a long way. But anyway, so what these people are. So you've seen them on video. Well, you may not have, but most people run across them if they're playing around YouTube a lot. And these are these people that go out and they film government agencies, the police, traffic stops, Social Security Administration buildings, and they walk in and harass people by signing there. And generally just being idiots under the guise that they're protecting your First Amendment rights, right? And this is a big rabbit hole because you could do a channel just on in fact, there are a lot of channels just on these, dissecting them and laughing at them and discussing all the court cases. They're always in court, right? They're always getting hemmed up for trespassing. They're always getting hemmed up for all sorts of petty stuff. Some of them not so much. But I'm going to talk about one in particular, and because it's an interesting story, and maybe this is part 3 of a 4-part series, or maybe I just extend this one out a little bit farther. So these people go out, right? They have this idea that this misguided idea that the First Amendment, the freedom of speech part, gives them a kind of carte blanche to film government, film the government whenever they want, however they want. You know, they don't understand some basics of the controls of the First Amendment, and when you do have total freedom of speech, when you have some freedom of speech, and when you don't have any freedom of speech, right? Because it just depends on the time, place, and manner, content, and it depends on what kind of forum it is. And I'm not going to get into forums, but forums are, you know, the places, the different type of places you have free speech, right? Like you have a public, you know, public forum, right? Like a park, sidewalk. Then you have non-traditional or limited public forum, which might be in the lobby of a courtroom, and you have places that you don't have any freedom of freedom of the press, freedom to film. So like a courtroom, right? Or the judge can set up the thing, or the judge can set up the rules that there's no filming anywhere in the courthouse, depending on what's going on. And you can't film inside a private place unless they let you. But they don't kind of understand that. Well, they do understand it. They're out there. They're doing this. They're trying to clickbait you into watching stuff, trying to buy into their stuff because they're doing the YouTube thing. They're trying to get clicks and views and advertising. And then they're trying to sell their crap, and some of them are very successful at it. Some not so much. Most of them end up coming and going from the video end of it, and they get arrested a couple of times. And a lot of these people are just pure petty criminals anyway. We'll let that go by. A lot of them are just pure petty criminals anyway. When you start dealing with this group of frauditors, First Amendment auditors, and you start looking into their backgrounds, they're all sorts of criminals. I'm not saying all of them are, but at least they don't start out that way. But they get records, at least petty records, and a lot of them end up with felony records. A lot of them are felons anyway before they even start because they're anti-police. They don't like government. They're borderline anarchists, or they are anarchists. They're low information people, low IQ people. A lot of them. They buy into this, or they're just criminals, and they have that criminal mentality against the police, and that fuels them. But they do make for a lot of content if you want to make fun of them. And the problem is a lot of people buy into their bullshit, and because the average person doesn't understand the First Amendment. Unfortunately, we've lost that in our education system, where you start to really understand what rights you have, because there's no right that is inherently not without some control, right? Where you can use that right? For example, the First Amendment, you can use it in a park all you want, right? As long as you're not harassing people, or you're not annoying everybody in the world. Amplified music, right? Maybe there's a restriction on amplified music depending on the park you're in. So there's always controls to our rights, even though we have rights. A lot of theoretically we have rights. There's always a fight, to keep your rights where they need to be at. But that's inherent to the way our government's set up, isn't it? We have redress if the government tramples your rights. So anyway, so back to the thing. So these people, they're not good people. Most of them. I think there's maybe one or two that have good intent. But the one I'm thinking about, there's a guy named News Now Houston. If you want to Google News Now Houston, because he was around for a long, 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 long time. He's right now presently. I'm going to do this first before we start this. I'm going to put a trigger warning out because these people are criminals, and some of them are really nasty criminals, and we're going to talk about one right now. And he's a sexual abuser too. So I'm just going to put that out there because it does play into the story, particularly if we dwell into his story pretty deep. But I'm going to put it out there that this is going to kind of I'm not going to dance around the stuff, but it's going to get it's going definitely, if you have children or somebody around that it's going to bother, you might want to watch this by yourself, or if that kind of stuff bothers you, you might just forego this video. So there you go, there's a trigger warning. But it should be fine, but I just wanted to put that out there. So anyway, so this guy, News Now Houston, David Worden. So David Worden was billed himself as the godfather of auditing, or whatever, godfather of something. I call him, we call him godfather of frauditing. So it's self-proclaimed, right? But he was an early one that started doing this. I don't know, probably maybe 10 years ago. But Earl Worden went to prison a long time ago. Earl had some pretty nasty charges that went on. He ended up in prison. He ended up in prison for gun charges. For several years, and he's a felon. He's not a good guy. He's never been a good guy. His brother, there were used to be in Texas. There were a whole bunch of rapes and murder. It was a horrible thing on the I-10, Interstate 10, way, way, way back. And his brother committed suicide when he was being investigated for those. And may have had something to do with that. May have been that person. Don't know. But comes from a family of really bad people. He used to work security, and used to well, I don't want to go into that. It's neither here nor there. He was a bad person. He went to prison. And he came out and, of course, had a chip on his block. A lot of stuff went on. So he got into this, anti-police. And, of course, that's what happens, right? He started doing this, filming the police for protecting the rights, right? Well, during all that, he had another trigger warning. We'll give it again because it's going to play into it a little bit. When he was younger, he had sexually abused his children and had gotten away with it for raping one of his kids, because during all this, the police had dropped the ball on the investigation for whatever reasons 20 years ago. And so he kind of got off scot-free for a long time, and he was doing this frauditing where he's going out and filming government officials, and he had he was in Texas and was doing all this stuff and creating havoc, getting arrested, completely stuff, all that kind of stuff. A lot of stuff. A lot of these people were in Texas at that time. A lot of stories about it. So if you ever Google David Worden, he went by David Worden. He used his middle name because Earl Worden, back in the day, would have recognized him as a felon. David, and he misspelled his last name, his name was spelled Worden. He would spell it Warden. So he uses his middle name and Worden like it's funny, like a prison warden, which is just funny. But he uses his middle name and then that last name. It kind of hit him, right? Hit who he really was. So yeah, he got around with this. He'd get arrested occasionally. And he started to become a big deal back when the YouTube was young. He's getting popular. He made a lot of money. He made a lot of money off of YouTube. Between clicks and views and, I think it's been so long I have to go back to a bunch of stuff, but PayPal, donations and all that kind of stuff. He was making really good money. Well, he decided he was going to go film this oil refiner, and if you go to his YouTube side or Google him, you'll find out all about this. You find the court documents. In fact, there's a Discord or a YouTube channel, MERB34ST. MERB34ST. MER34ST. Anyway, if you put MERB in to Google, MERB, and First Amendment, you'll find his YouTube site. Who was an attorney who started following the First Amendment Frauditors, and along with other people, and particularly with him, and people started digging in on him because you come out there as a public, in the public, then people will start digging on your past. And so this guy was getting big for his britches, making a lot of money, and he filmed this refinery, Shell refinery, I think down in Richardson, Texas, somewhere, Galveston, somewhere around there. Deer Park, Texas. Long story short, Deer Park, Texas was where he lived, and where they had investigated him for molesting his children. So anyway, he went and harassed this oil refinery. Long story short, started harassing the people there, and the police were involved, and they started investigating him. Lo and behold, they found out that they had open investigations on him. Had he not been doing this stuff, they would have never caught him, never finished this out. So he's out there, filming all this stuff and doing all this stuff, and big man on campus with all of his followers, making all this money, talking shit and smack, and they started digging into his past again, and they found out that they had dropped the ball, and something happened where the original charges and investigation against him against his daughters somehow got, and they didn't hide it, but somebody dropped the ball, right? Well, when they started going after him for the garbage he was doing with his First Amendment Frauditors, and some other things he was doing that brought a lot of light to him. Something happened up in the San Antonio area at that time too, where a lot of them got arrested, which is a whole nother story. But anyway, so they started investigating him and the old charges, and they arrested him. I think he knew he was going to get arrested because he was down in Laredo, I believe it was right across the border, with a woman and doing this stuff. I think he was getting ready to run to Mexico because there's a lot of heat coming down on him. Pretty serious crime. So he continued on with this, and people were digging into his past. They were digging into everything. The word was getting out about how bad, his whole, just really, really nasty person. Lived in a trailer, a travel trailer on a piece of property because he'd been convicted of sexual crimes way back when he went to prison the first time. He was on the offenders list, which is the other thing. He was on the sexual offenders, SRO. And lived in a town, I guess outside of Galveston, that a lot of these had a very high concentration of people on the SOR list. I guess it was easy for them to live there as far as restrictions, where they could be, where they couldn't, and inexpensive down by the Gulf. And so he lived in a travel trailer on a piece of property that he bought or his ex-wife bought or whatever. And his daughter, son, and there's all sorts of stuff going on. But anyway, so they got him. They went to go interview the daughters that had made the original complaints. Figured out that they were still open, and they wanted to prosecute. One of them did, and they prosecuted him. It took them years and years, and all through this, old Earl, David, as most people called him, kept up with his crap, getting arrested, for little stuff, and he was on a bail. He was on a bond, a big bond originally. If I remember right, it was $1 million when he got arrested for the sexual abuse. So this went on for years, the court case for this, and his followers, his sycophants, were horrible. And they're all these First Amendment Auditor nuts, anti-government stuff. So a lot of people tracked him. There's a lot known about him. There's a lot of people that follow these people and put out all the information on them, follow the court cases, put two and two together, track where they're at. And at one point, the police didn't know much about these people. The police know all about them now, right? They know how to handle them and stuff like that. But there was a time when the police these people weren't on the police's radar yet. Social media was a new thing, right? Fairly new. Social media made these guys what they thought were big superstars, right? Defending their rights. When really they were a big fish in a very, very small pond in the internet. But it's a pond that unfortunately keeps growing little by little. You start seeing these people out there. You start seeing people pushing back against them. And I'm not saying everything they're doing is wrong, because sometimes they get things right. Most of the time they don't. But so this guy, Earl, and his sycophants, for 3 or 4 years this case went on, trying to get to trial. And all the time Earl was, his big bravado that, he's I got a war chest, they can't get me, I got the second best, this is cool, I got the second best criminal attorney in Texas. He's probably a good attorney, but second best. And a lot of his friends had ended up in jail for this, that, or the other. There's a guy named Bow, for those that know the story. Remember Bow? Piggy. And I guess he's still around, living in a van somewhere, still e-begging the internet. I don't know, lots of tracking him. So anyway, so he ended up going to court, confident. Yeah, so confident. We used to follow him. He was on the internet up until the day, during his court case, when they were at trial. You know, so confident that they weren't going to be able to get him. And a lot of people had fun with Earl during that time. Because he was active on the internet. He was active on Discord. In fact, he was in an old Discord from another frauditor that disappeared. But he left his Discord open, available. He never canceled it, so it became a place that Earl used to hang out to spout his bullshit, and a lot of people had fun with Earl during that time. So anyway, the good thing is they caught him. They went to trial, and he was convicted. He's 60 years old. He was young when he first went to prison. I think late 20s, like that. Been out for a long time doing this thing. Somehow making money, had money. I think his family maybe had money at one point. And his wife, don't know much about the wife, but ex-wife. But I don't think they had money. I know they didn't have a lot of money at one point because they were living in a trailer. He drilled holes in the trailer into the bathroom so he could eat. So anyway, so the daughter went to court, testified, and they were so sure that him and his little frauditor friends were so sure that he wasn't going to be convicted. You ever see the TV things or you see on TV where somebody's guilty and their knees buckle? It happened to this guy. And he's 60 years old. So, then they took him and then went to sentencing, right? 20 years. 20 years in prison. So old Earl, David, Worden, W-O-R-D-E-N, not Worden, W-A-R-D-E-N. Old Earl is going to probably die in prison, which is great when you're looking at punishment. What a better way to spend the rest of your life after you've such a horrible person, made life miserable for a lot of people, and that's just the people in the First Amendment, I think, each harassed. But then really hurt people. And you hurt people that I'm sure there are people way back, the crap he was doing back then, that never came out. That was never prosecuted. Maybe he was part of the I-10 rapes and murders. Maybe it was him and his brother. Who knows? His brother, we'll never know from his brother. And it's a speculation. But a lot of weird stuff with the Worden family back then and all the way through. So anyway, the good thing is I don't know how we got really on the Worden history, but maybe because we needed to do that if I continue on with these frauditors. So he's in prison now. He's been there for about a year, maybe 2 years. Probably not 2 years yet. Trying to get it reversed on an appeal. It's not working real well for him. So he's tucked away safely in a Texas penitentiary. living the life. So, if only there was one other person. Man, I'd love to put one other person in a Texas penitentiary, even if it's just for a year or two. But, so, anyway, so to finish the rest of the story, and yep, this is going long, but that's okay. These frauditors are they're bad people. At the best, they're misguided, and they've bought into a bunch of bullshit without understanding everything. At the worst, they're people like this Earl Worden and others that are know what they're doing, and they're trying to bait the police. They're trying to make money off of them, and they're doing all this crap because they know they're making money on the other side of on the internet. Some of them are making really good money. I think today a lot of that has kind of dwindled down for the most part. I think most people know what's going on with them now. I mean, there's still a big fish in a little pond, right? With some of them, but everybody's kind of seen this, and seen their actions, and followed the Googled them, seen the court actions, seen their behaviors and stuff. But they're still out there. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of little ones out there. People that see this stuff and this is a good idea. I'll go do that. People think their rights are being trampled, but they don't get the full story or understand what's going on, and put themselves at a lot of risk. I mean, a lot of times it's petty risk, little risk, right? So you get jailed for trespassing, or for obstruction, or disturbing the peace, or minor felony or something. But a lot of these people that are doing this, that buy into it. They're not the smartest person. They don't understand to vet things and to really look at stuff, particularly what they see on YouTube, right? A lot of stuff on YouTube. I get you in a lot of trouble if you follow what they say without researching it. It goes for anything on YouTube. There's so much misinformation, I shouldn't say with this group, it's misinformation, a lot of it. It gets filtered down and it just becomes bad information, right? As it gets sent from person to person. So, anyway, this is like 36 minutes long, so I think I'm going to shut it down there, and we're going to call this the end of video 3 and the end of my day in the rain in the park. But to change some stuff around. Would you be interested in knowing more about these frauditors and the First Amendment stuff? It's interesting stuff. I've got some interesting stories about it that I can tell about a lot of particularly the first generation of them. Now it's a bunch of now there's just too many of these little piddly ones that they're still interesting to watch, but they don't have the history that went on for years and years and years. But it's an interesting rabbit hole, and let me know if you want me to do more about that. Just cut on the side, something different, something new, and I'll put something together, some video. Maybe we'll talk about. Maybe we'll just make it a thing on maybe Earl. For those of you that know Earl and PayPal Patty and Bow, maybe some Leon Valley. I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people watching this. Leon Valley is just outside of San Antonio, and all these frauditors were involved in a big to-do there. Some ended up making some money off of it. Other people, that low information people that bought into all this stuff ended up felons for other reasons down the road. It's interesting to watch these characters and what happens in their lives. So there you go. Like and subscribe if you want to, and I'm going to do it. If you want to help the channel, look in the description. There's links to Venmo and buy a coffee, which is like the Patreon or something like that. You can buy me a couple of coffees. You can buy me a couple of coffees every month if you want to under that. But yeah, I'm going to start doing that. Just if I can pick up $5 here, $10 here if you like the content or you want to keep the channel going as we get bigger. It's going to go towards the internet services, stuff like that, which is a big deal to me right now. So thank you for letting me go on for almost 40 minutes. And as we start adding new stuff and stuff that's interesting, let me know. Let me know if you're interested in this First Amendment stuff. Let me know if you Googled it, what you found out. I have a feeling that the comments might get interesting down the road, because I'm sure that once I start putting out some stuff, shorts and some names, they'll probably come in here. So it is what it is, right? Could be fun. Could be fun to see the comments, and I don't know. Maybe the play toys will come back. Not going to try to make them come back, but sometimes these play toys are fun. So I'm out. Thanks for putting up with me these last 3 videos. As I'm here in the rain, kind of cold. I'm actually chilled because I'm still damp, and see what happens. So if nothing else, thank you. It did take my mind off of some stuff, believe it or not, for a little bit. And at least on this segment, my head was in a pretty good place. So like and subscribe. If you haven't, please hit the bell and subscribe. And for all the 120, 130 subscribers I have right now, thank you very much for watching. With that, Bits and Bobs, I'm out. Take care.